Greetings, aspirants. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the Daily Current Affairs by CivicCentre IAS, where we try to discuss the important articles from the Hindu, the Indian Express, and the PIB from the UPSC CSA prelims perspective. Displayed are the list of topics which we are going to discuss in today's video. So the first article of the day says that the smallest launch vehicle of the Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO, which is the Small Satellite Launch Vehicle, SSLV, in its third and final developmental flight, placed the EOS-8 and SR-0 satellites into a precise 475 km circular orbit. It also marks the completion of ISRO's Department of Space SSLV development project. The New Space India Limited, which is the ISRO's commercial arm, and India's private space industry can now produce SSLVs for commercial missions. Significantly with this, the SSLV will be inducted into the Space Agency's fleet of operational launch vehicles. In this context, let us first talk about SSLV and then about the mission. So what is an SSLV? See, the Small Satellite Launch Vehicle is a 3-stage launch vehicle configured with 3 solid propulsion stages and a liquid propulsion based velocity trimming module as a terminal stage, which can help adjust the velocity as it prepares to place the satellite. Essentially, the aim behind this SSLV is to produce low-cost launch vehicles with short turnaround times and minimal infrastructural requirements. Know that the SSLV can launch satellites weighing up to 500 kg and accommodate multiple satellites. Notably, it has been developed to capture the emerging small satellite commercial market, which is the nano, micro, mini, with launches offered on demand. Interestingly, the SSLV is the smallest vehicle at 110-ton mass at ISRO. So it will take only 72 hours to integrate, unlike the 70 days taken now for a launch vehicle. Then moving on to ISRO's EOS-8, which is one of the primary payload on the mission. It is a 175 kg experimental satellite carrying on board 3 new technologies. Further, the electro-optical infrared payload, which is in short called the EOIR, is designed to capture images in mid-wave and long-wave infrared during the day and night. Notably, the data can be used for surveillance, disaster monitoring, environmental monitoring, fire detection, volcanic activity observation, and industrial and power plant disaster monitoring. Then the Global Navigation Satellite System reflectionometry payload, which has been designed to demonstrate that reflected signals from the satellite-based navigation systems like GPS can be used for applications such as ocean surface wind analysis, soil moisture assessment, cryosphere studies over the Himalayan region, flood detection, and inland water body detection. Notably, the third payload, SIC UV dosimeter, will be used to study the amount of UV radiation that will be hit the viewport of the crew module in preparation for the Gaganyaan mission. Though the UV dosimeter is to be flown on the Gaganyaan mission, it was flew here to get the on-board, on-orbit experience. The next article says that the Aravalli Range that stretches from Gujarat to Delhi through Rajasthan, considered the natural green wall in the northwestern part of the country, is facing severe threat from illegal mining, deforestation and human encroachments, which have led to environmental degradation as well as depletion of groundwater resources in the region. In this context, let us talk about Aravalli Range. So the Aravalli Range is one of the oldest fold mountains of the world. Know that it runs approximately 670 km in a southwest direction, starting near Delhi, passing through southern Haryana and Rajasthan, and ending in Gujarat. Notably, the highest peak is Guru Shikhar at 1722 meters. Now, if we have to talk about the rivers, 3 major rivers and their tributaries flow through Aravalli. They are Banas and Sahibi, which are the tributaries of Yamuna, as well as Luni River, which flows into the run of Kutch. Further, the mountains are divided into 2 main ranges, which are the Sambhar Sirohi range and the Sambhar Khetri range in Rajasthan. Significantly, there are several national parks and wildlife sanctuaries that fall within the belt of Aravalli Hills: Sariska National Park, Kumbhalghar Sanctuary, Todgar, Rauli and Mount Abu Sanctuary among them. The next article says that a research team at the Central University of Kerala has achieved a significant breakthrough in chemical sensing by developing a highly sensitive and selective cyanide sensor. Notably, the practical applications of the sensor are wide-ranging. Further, the team demonstrated its effectiveness in detecting cyanide in tapioca extracts, where the sensor's color shifts from yellow to bluish green and developed a street for qualitative detection. Know that the innovation is relevant given recent incidents of cyanide poisoning. In this context, let us talk about cyanide. See, cyanide is a potent toxin which is present in various plants, fruits, and microorganisms. Know that the World Health Organization has set strict guidelines for its presence in potable water, limiting cyanide concentrations to below 0.19 mg per liter due to its lethal effects on humans and aquatic life. Furthermore, the cyanide exposure can occur through consumption of certain foods like cassava and even common items like apple and apricot seeds, sprouting potatoes, and almonds. Now, if we have to talk about where all it is used, firstly, in manufacturing, cyanide is used to make paper, textiles, and plastics. Then it is present in the chemicals used developing photographs. Next, cyanide salts are used in metallurgy for electroplating, metal cleaning, and removing gold from its ore. And lastly, cyanide gas is used to exterminate pests and vermin in ships and buildings. The next article says that the Union Agriculture Ministry launched a digital geospatial platform, Krishi-Decision support system. This will share real-time data-driven insights on weather patterns, soil conditions, crop health, crop acreage, and advisories with all stakeholders such as farmers, experts, and policymakers from anywhere at any time. In this context, let us talk more about it. See, the platform is developed jointly by the Ministry of Agriculture and the Department of Space. Know that it captures minute details from the vast expanse of fields to the smallest soil particle. Further, the Krishi-DSS will enable the government to understand cropping patterns by analyzing parcel-level crop maps of different years. Additionally, the feature on drought monitoring in Krishi-DSS will help the government to stay ahead of drought. Also, it will give near real-time information on various indicators such as soil moisture, water shortage, crop condition, dry spells, etc. Next, the crop weather watch feature, which too has been integrated into Krishi-DSS, will keep the government informed about how weather is impacting the crops, crop harvest status, crop residue burning, etc. Then with the field parcel segmentation, Krishi-DSS will enable the government to accurately identify field parcel units, which will help in understanding each parcel's unique needs and cropping patterns for targeted interventions. Further, the One Nation, One Soil information of the Krishi-DSS will give comprehensive soil data with embedded information on soil type, soil pH, soil health, etc. So, this soil data will help the government in assessing crop suitability and land capability for implementing soil water conservation measures. The next article says that the unemployment rate for people aged 15 years and above in urban areas was unchanged at 6.6% in the April-June quarter as per the National Sample Survey Office survey. In this context, let us talk about the unemployment and how it is measured. See, the International Labour Organization defines unemployment as being out of a job, being available to take a job, and actively engaged in searching for work. Then the labour force is defined as the sum of the employed and the unemployed. Hence, the unemployment rate is measured as the ratio of the unemployed to the labour force. Then how is the unemployment measured in India? See, it is as per the NSSO classification methods. Under this we have, firstly, the usual principal and subsidiary status, in short called the UPSS, in which the principal status is determined based on the activity one spent the most time on in the previous year. Then the subsidiary roles lasting at least 30 days are also considered employment. This method tends to lower the unemployment rates. Secondly, the current weekly status, in which a shorter reference period of a week is adopted. Here the individuals are counted as employed if they have worked for at least 1 hour on at least one day in the preceding 7 days. Further, the current weekly status results in higher unemployment rates than the UPSS because due to the shortage reference period. Know that the National Sample Survey Office is merged with the Central Statistical Office to form National Statistical Office in the year 2019. So coming back to the news, the unemployment rate in the June quarter of the financial year 24 was 6.6%. Further, unemployment rate for people aged 15 and above in the January-March quarter of the financial year 24 was 6.7% in the urban areas according to the periodic labor force survey. You have to know that it is a survey conducted by the NSO under the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation to measure the employment and unemployment situation in India. The NSO launched the PLFS in the April 2017. The next article says that in the decade since the assembly elections last took place in the Jammu and Kashmir, its political topography has undergone a significant shift following the abolition of Article 370 in 2019, its reorganization as a union territory and bifurcation. In this context, let us talk about Article 370 and later about Article 35A. So firstly, talking about Article 370, it is the first article of the Part 21 of the Indian Constitution, which deals with the temporary, transitional and special provisions. See, it restricts Parliament's legislative powers in respect of Jammu and Kashmir and for extending a central law on subjects including in the instrument of accession, mere consultation with the state government is needed. Hence, Article 370 was a provision in the Constitution of India that granted a special autonomous status to the region of Jammu and Kashmir. More importantly, Article 370 granted the state of Jammu and Kashmir significant autonomy, allowing it to have its own constitution, own flag, and autonomy over the internal affairs except for the matters such as defense, foreign affairs, finance, and communications, which were under the jurisdiction of the Indian government. Further, this article also restricted the application of Indian laws in the state. But on August 5th of 2019, the Government of India announced the abrogation of Article 370 through a presidential order. Notably, this move was accompanied by the reorganization of the state into two separate union territories of J&K and Ladakh. Then, moving on to talk about Article 35A of the Indian Constitution, it was a provision that empowered the Jammu and Kashmir State Legislature to define permanent residents of the state and provide them special rights and privileges. Know that it was introduced in the year 1954 through a presidential order, not directly enshrined in the constitution itself. Further, the Jammu and Kashmir legislature could define who could qualify as a permanent resident and grant them exclusive rights, which included firstly the ownership of immovable property within the state, secondly settlement with the state, third government jobs, fourth scholarships and other state benefits, and lastly further the people who weren't classified as permanent residents had limited rights in the Jammu and Kashmir compared to the citizens elsewhere. So significantly in the same year, which is 2019, the Indian government revoked Article 35A along with Article 370, which granted special autonomous status to the Jammu and Kashmir. The next article says that with no signs of a let-up in the threat to ships transitioning the Red Sea, India's petroleum product exports to Europe have shifted entirely to the significantly longer and costlier, albeit safer route around the Africa via Cape of Good Hope. Notably, since last year, numerous cargo ships have come under the attack from the Iran-backed Houthi rebels of Yemen around the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, which leads to the Red Sea and Suez Canal, forming the shortest, although narrow, route to the Mediterranean Sea and beyond from the Arab Peninsula, Northeast Africa and the Arabian Sea. So, as per the trade sources, taking the Cape of Good Hope route instead of the Suez Canal adds 15 to 20 days to the voyage to Europe from India, apart from significantly inflating the freight costs. But significantly prior to December 2023, the Suez Canal and the Red Sea accounted for around 10% of the global crude oil flows and 14% of the petroleum product flows. But as a number of major shipping companies are now avoiding the route, choosing instead to go to around Africa, the share of global oil and petroleum product flows passing through the Suez Canal has dropped significantly. However, the Russian crude stands out as an exception. Now, talking about the Red Sea, see, it is a narrow inland sea between Africa and the Arabian Peninsula. Nearly 2000 km Red Sea connects the Mediterranean Sea with the Indian Ocean via a narrow Suez Canal. Further, it is connected to the Arabian Sea and the Indian Ocean, to the south through the Gulf of Eden and the narrow strait of Bab el Mandeb. Then the Bab el Mandeb Strait, which is also known as the Gate of Tears in Arabic, is a crucial trade route that connects the Mediterranean Sea and the Indian Ocean via the Red Sea and the Suez Canal. The countries bordering it are Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Sudan, Eritrea, and Djibouti. Now, moving on to talk about the Cape of Good Hope. It is a rocky headland on the Atlantic coast of the Cape Peninsula in the South Africa. Know that a headland is a narrow piece of land which sticks out from the coast into the sea. Further, the Cape of Good Hope route joins Eastern Asia and Europe to the southern parts of Africa. Significantly, the opening of the Suez Canal in the year 1869 provided a much shorter route from the Mediterranean Sea to the Indian Ocean, making the long trip around the Africa inefficient. Notably, the Cape of Good Hope route is 8,900 km longer than the Suez Canal route and can take additional 2 weeks. The next article says that the government has finalized a tender document to procure 1,000 graphics processing units as part of the ambitious IndiaAI mission and offer computing capacity to Indian startups, researchers, public sector agencies, and other entities approved by the government. Know that the move is part of the 10,370 crore rupees IndiaAI mission to establish a computing capacity of more than 10,000 GPUs and also help develop foundational models with a capacity of more than 100 billion parameters trained on datasets covering major Indian languages for the priority sectors like healthcare, agriculture, and governance. In this context, let us talk about IndiaAI mission. So, the Indian government, led by the Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, has approved IndiaAI mission with a 10,371 crore.92 crore budget to strengthen the country's AI ecosystem. Know that the mission will be implemented by the IndiaAI Independent Division under the Digital India Corporation. Significantly, the mission aims to boost AI innovation through public-private partnerships, focusing on several key areas, which are: firstly, the IndiaAI compute capacity, which is about establishing a scalable AI computing infrastructure with 10,000 GPUs to support the startups and research, along with an AI marketplace for resources and pre-trained schools. Secondly, the IndiaAI Innovation Center for developing indigenous large multimodal technologies, at the same time domain-specific foundational AI models. Thirdly, IndiaAI Datasets Platform, which is about creating a unified platform for quality non-personal datasets for AI innovation. Fourthly, IndiaAI Application Development Initiative for promoting AI applications in the critical sectors for large-scale socio-economic transformation. Then IndiaAI Future Skills for expanding AI education and setting up data and AI labs in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities to enhance the skills. Next, IndiaAI Startup Financing for providing funding support to deep tech AI startups for futuristic projects. Lastly, Safe and Trusted AI for implementing responsible AI practices with indigenous tools, frameworks, and governance guidelines. The last article of the day says that the central government has cut the windfall tax on petroleum crude to 2,100 rupees per metric ton from 4,600 rupees per metric ton, effective from August 17th. Earlier, the windfall tax on crude was lowered by 34.2% to 4,600 per ton on July 31st. Know that there will be no windfall tax on export of diesel and aviation turbine fuels. In this context, let us talk about windfall tax. See, a windfall tax is a higher tax imposed by the government on industries that experience unexpected and substantial profits due to external factors such as global or geopolitical events. Know that the term windfall refers to a sudden or unforeseen increase in the profits. Notably, this tax is levied when the government observes significant rise in the industry's revenue, which is not due to the company's own efforts such as business expansion or strategy. So we are done with today's discussion. We have discussed 9 articles in total from the Hindu, the Indian Express. We will be back again tomorrow. Thank you.